The Cowboys scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, shutting down the Colts 54-19 Sunday night. It was a full-team effort with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb scoring the first 3 Dallas touchdowns and combining for 9 catches for 94 yards, while the Dallas defense forced 4 turnovers in the second half. Coach McCarthy, what'd you think of that win?
Frankly, the fourth quarter is it's a tough spot to be in. I'm complaining because you're making substitutions, but it really stresses out your special teams. And then with all the scoring, obviously there was a lot of special teams plays, particularly the coverage, kickoff coverage. So, trust me, I'll take that stress every week. But that part is challenging. But really the excitement for me personally was just to see that the opportunity a number of players had last night, but how they played, particularly our young players.
All right, I'm really looking forward to this conversation in all seriousness. Do you think, Mina, that Dallas is the best team in the NFC?
No, it's Philadelphia. It's
Really?
close. Dallas is very, very good. They played a very good fourth quarter. But what the Eagles did this weekend, dominating a Titans team that I think a lot of us were excited to see play the Eagles because they run the ball well. The Eagles have struggled in run defense, and the Titans have the best run defense in the NFL, top 3. What Philadelphia did is something they have done all year. Excellent on defense, excellent on run defense, but it was the offense for me in this one. Every week, depending on who their opponent is, they change their game plan a little bit, and they can beat you so many different ways. Last week, we saw, on the ground, they're going to put up one of the most dominant rushing performances in NFL history. This week, flip the script. Beat them through the air. A.J. Brown, deep balls. That is why I love this Philadelphia team, not just because they're so deep and they're so good in their record, but because they're versatile. And come playoff time, you know what what matters, that you can win a bunch of different ways.
It's hard for me to say that Philly's not the number 1 team in NFC, but since the Dallas Cowboys got Dak Prescott back, and I go back to when Philly played Dallas in Philly, in Cooper Rush, they spotted them 20, and then they came roaring back and almost won. It was late season, a late game stop that got the victory for Philly. But since Dak Prescott's gotten back, the offense has been explosive. They've scored a lot of points. In fact, they're the number 1 scoring team in the NFL since Dak Prescott's gotten back. Defensively, they are better to me than Philadelphia, even though Philadelphia is solid and sound. And then I look at the one head-to-head matchup, Minnesota versus Philly, Minnesota versus the Dallas. They both beat them, but Dallas beat them down. I mean, they really took them at home in Minnesota, shellacked them, where Philly kind of toyed around and got the victory. And so I look at that and I go, I got to put Dallas in front of them for now. I just do because of the quarterback.
I don't, and I won't.
Of course not.
What I would say to you is this. A couple of things. Mina pointed out accurately, they run for about 363 yards against Green Bay. They pass for about 391 yards against Tennessee. The versatility, the fact that they make adjustments because they have the versatility to do so. They can run on you. They can throw on you. Yeah. They have a mobile quarterback who's a dual threat. We got to take all of those things into consideration, okay? So I take that in. That's number 1. Number 2, the balance. Number 3, what you brought up about the Cowboys, remember, it wasn't just the Cowboys. Throughout the early part of the season, the Eagles had a problem maintaining their momentum in the second half. They would get out to early leads and they would hold on. And teams would creep back up and make things far more interesting than it needed to be earlier on. That hasn't been the case over the last several weeks. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I say to myself, okay, this is what I'm seeing from the Eagles, so they can get at the quarterback. They got a secondary that can defend against elite wide receivers in a passing attack. They can defend against the run. Oh, by the way, they can run the football. They can throw the football. You've got a dual threat at the quarterback spot. All those things being taken into consideration, and the fact that they're not as weak against the run as the Cowboys are, plus they can run on a team like the Cowboys, I say those are the things that make the Eagles the top threat in the NFC conference.
The Cowboys just lost one of their starting cornerbacks, which you mentioned earlier. So not only can they run on them, I especially think off tackle on those edges, the way you attack Dallas, they're going to throw on them as well, because it's not just A.J. Brown in Philadelphia.
Well,
Devontae Smith is a terror as well.
On Christmas Eve, this debate
That's going to be a great game. wait.
You know,
I
it'll
can't
be
wait for
settled.
that one.
Say Christmas. No, it's not going to be settled. It'll be settled come playoff time.
No, it'll be settled Christmas Eve on which team in the regular season is better in NFC.
It depends.
Hey.
I mean, the fact of the matter, if the Eagles get, like, say, for example, a 2-game cushion, right? If they get a 2-game cushion, what you talking about Christmas Eve or whatever, there's about 2 games left. Well, if I got a 2-game cushion on the Cowboys, plus I already beat the Cowboys, it's not that big of a priority for me.
You didn't beat the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, though. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Right. You beat him with Cooper Rush. You didn't beat him at full strength.
I understand that. I understand
you
that.
sure?
But I do understand that. What I'm saying to you, however, is this. The playoffs matter more.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you've got a couple of games of a cushion,
yeah,
because you're
going to have
home
field advantage.
You're going to have home field advantage anyway.
Yeah, you're going to have home field advantage.
Mina, let me ask you that when we're talking about the quarterbacks.
We know that they lose at home in the playoffs, too.
Yeah. You know that. The Cowboys.
No, you know that because you covered it.
But the Cowboys don't know that because they ain't never done it.
Can I ask my question now?
Yeah.
Okay. Of the 2 quarterbacks, of Dak Prescott, of Jalen Hurts, when we're talking I know, Mina, I need you to.
Oh, no.
Who do you trust more? Visceral reaction to that question. Don't overthink it.
Oh, I have a slight lean for Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts has progressed so much from the quarterback we saw in the postseason last year. He's been so good in the pocket. He's been so good in passing situations on 3rd down. I just think Dak Prescott has a slight edge. But I also think Jalen Hurts is in a better situation. That is the best offensive line in football. It's the best run game in football. I think they've got a better group of skill players than Dallas. That's why I favor the Eagles, even though if you were to put them in a vacuum, I would probably lean Dak.
As much as I love Jalen Hurts, love him to death, think he's an MVP, think he should win the MVP if he continues at this pace. Dak Prescott has some major playoff experience. He played well against Green Bay. It wasn't his fault they lost to Green Bay early in his career. And then when you look at last year, he had a little bit of a mishap there against the 49ers late in the game. But for the most part, I think I'm leaning toward Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott has 4 more interceptions than Jalen Hurts in 5 less games. I just want to say, I'm saying
that's a concerning stat when you put it that way.
But I'm not going to do that.
Hold on, let me say
I'm not going to play the interception game.
Why?
Because
he airs it out.
Really, you of all people are not going to play the interception game. What you turning to Molly for? I'm right here, man.
Because sometimes the ball is not. It's not necessarily the quarterback's fault.
You're right. However, it's going to be those wide receivers in the playoffs. Some of those interceptions were absolutely on the receivers.
Yeah.
But it's the same team. What did you just do?
Now, I got Mina with me.
They're like 2 5-year-olds.
Has that ever happened on first date?
Never,
Someone's
never happened
sticking their tongue out and Stephen A? You going to tolerate that?
Well, he's Keyshawn. He's crazy. But here's the deal. The situation is simple. We've seen several situations involving Dak Prescott where he's thrown away a few passes. What I'm saying is you got a defense and a team that's able to make up for it, so we gloss over it because they'll end up coming back and bum rushing somebody. But the reality is that what if you did that against a team that you don't get to recover so easily against?
But that works for all quarterbacks.
I understand that. Well, I'm just bringing it up.
Come on, man.
I'm just bringing it up. Why we can't bring it up? It's the reality. It happened. How come I can't bring it up?
We can bring it up because Aaron Rodgers did it against the 49ers a year ago. We can bring it up.
Okay. All right.
It happened.
Okay. And
all I'm saying is I got a little more faith in him, just a little bit.
Right.
Because of his experience in the playoffs, I just got a little more.
I understand. You're a Dallas Cowboy. Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not Michael Irvin.
You won a championship
which
with
of
the
the head
Bucs.
coaches do you have more faith in, McCarthy or Sirianni?
I think I have more in Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Look at you. Come on.
Probably Sirianni.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like sometimes Mike McCarthy, his brain be all over the place. He's listening to too many people.
I have one note
Molly
for you,
started
Stephen
off
A.
the subject talking about I was so interested in hearing the subject. We actually talked about this earlier in the show. She just wasn't interested in hearing from us. You hear, I'm so interested in hearing about the subject.
I appreciate that, Molly.
It was a better conversation in the second hour. What do you want me to do? You want me to lie to you?
He had a tongue stuck out.
There was more depth to it.
Discourse was so elevated.
Keyshawn's giving me a side eye. I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, you did. It's okay now. Well, go ahead.
Okay, let me just end with this stat. This is for you.
Yes.
Dallas put up 199 points in their last 5 games. That is the most in franchise history, Stephen A.
Highest scoring offense since Dak Prescott gotten back into the saddle.
Coming up. Not only are you a Dallas Cowboy, you're a Los Angeles Laker lover. And the Lakers